All right, so you've got that agricultural equipment design engineer interview coming up, huh? Well, congrats. Getting your foot in the door is half the battle, but we're going to make sure you totally crush this interview.
It's definitely a competitive field, so being prepared can really set you apart.
Exactly. I mean, you've obviously done some homework already. You know the basics. You're designing machinery for the agriculture industry, the whole nine yards. But interviews are about more than just the basics. They want to see how you think, how you solve problems, and really, they want to feel that passion you have for the field.
Right. It's about showing them you're a good fit, not just technically, but for the team too.
Okay, so let's get down to business. We've got some sample questions here that we're going to dissect not just what to say, but how to say it.
Perfect. I'm ready when you are.
All right, here's a classic one to get us started.
Yeah.
What inspired you to pursue a career in agricultural equipment design engineering? Now, it might seem basic, but this is your chance to grab their attention right out of the gate.
Don't underestimate the power of a good first impression. It's really about authenticity here. Think about what truly sparked your interest in this field. What was it? A specific event? A mentor you had? A fascination with a certain piece of equipment? Tap into that and let it shine through.
Exactly, and think about how that story connects to the bigger picture. I was looking at the career guide earlier, particularly the what they do section. It talks about these engineers are contributing to a more efficient and sustainable future for agriculture, which I think is pretty awesome.
It is, and that's exactly what you want to get across to them. Show them you're not just in it for a job, but that you want to make a real impact, a difference.
So maybe you grew up on a farm and you saw firsthand the struggles that farmers face. Or maybe you just loved tinkering with machines as a kid and you realize, hey, I can use this to help improve people's lives, make it real, make it relatable.
Yeah. And don't forget to sprinkle in some specifics from your academic background, too. Did you take any courses that stand out, like precision agriculture or sustainable design? Those are definitely things to highlight.
You know what's cool? RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze job descriptions and point out keywords that employers are looking for, like sustainability or precision agriculture, so you can tweak your answers to match exactly what each company wants to hear.
It's like having a secret weapon for tailoring your responses. I love it.
All right, let's move on to question number 2. How do you approach the design process for a new agricultural equipment product? This is your chance to show off how you think, your methodology, and how you handle those tough design challenges.
Absolutely. They want to see that you have a structured approach, but that you can also adapt, think on your feet when things change.
Exactly. So walk them through your process. Use those keywords from the career guide. Research, ideation, prototyping, testing, and refinement. But don't just list them off, but bring it to life with a real example.
Right. Think of a time you faced a design challenge. Could be a class project, an internship, anything. What steps did you take? How did you research? Brainstorm solutions, test out your ideas.
You know what else RoleCatcher can help with? It lets you record yourself answering these questions and get AI-powered feedback. It's like having a coach in your pocket, giving you tips on your delivery, your pacing, even your body language.
It's amazing how technology can personalize the interview prep experience like that.
Okay, moving on. Question number 3. How do you stay up to date with the latest developments and trends in the agricultural equipment industry? This industry is always changing, so you need to show them you're a lifelong learner, always curious and up to date.
You got it. Technology is constantly evolving. Employers want to see that commitment to continuous learning.
So what resources do you use? Industry publications, conferences, websites, even social media. Name some specifics. Like the ASCB, the American Society of Agricultural and Biological Engineers. Being part of those communities shows you're serious.
And don't just list them. Talk about a trend that you found fascinating, something that got you excited about the future of agricultural technology. Autonomous tractors, drones in farming, new eco-friendly materials, anything that really caught your attention.
Yeah. Show them you're not just passively reading stuff, but that you're thinking about how it's going to shape the industry, like how it all connects.
Now, this next one might seem tricky, but it's a chance to show off your problem-solving skills. Question 4. How do you balance the competing demands of design, cost, and functionality when developing new agricultural equipment products?
Yeah, this is where it gets real, because in the real world, you can't always have it all, right? You got to make choices, prioritize, and sometimes compromise.
And that's exactly what they want to hear about, how you handle those trade-offs.
So think of a real example where you had to make these tough decisions. Maybe a project where you had to keep costs down but not sacrifice functionality. Or maybe you had to make design changes to meet certain performance standards. What was your process?
Talk them through how you gathered data, weighed the pros and cons, and ultimately made that decision. Don't forget to mention the results, too.
And this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can come in handy. It can analyze your answers and point out where you could add more detail or make your point stronger.
It's all about fine-tuning, making sure your answers are as impactful as possible.
Question number 5. Can you describe a time when you faced a significant design challenge and how you overcame it?
Classic behavioral question. Time to showcase those problem-solving skills. And remember the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. Set the scene, describe the challenge, the actions you took, and the positive outcome. Keep it structured.
Right. Make sure the challenge you choose is relevant to the job, something that shows off those key skills you're looking for: critical thinking, creativity, working under pressure.
Like, let's say you were designing a new irrigation system. What were some of the challenges you faced? Integrating it with existing tech, maximizing water efficiency, making it user-friendly for farmers.
Perfect example. And don't just focus on the technical side. How did you work with others? Communicate your ideas. Overcome obstacles. Soft skills are just as important as technical know-how.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, let's take a breather here. We've covered 5 questions so far. Before we jump into more, I want to emphasize how important it is to tailor your answers to each company.
Absolutely. Generic responses won't cut it. You've got to show them you've done your homework and you understand what makes them tick.
That's where RoleCatcher comes in clutch again. Its AI analyzes job descriptions, websites, even news articles to get a sense of the company's values, their goals, what's important to them.
It's like having your own personal research assistant.
Exactly. Are you ready for more questions?
Bring 'em on.
Okay, we're back and ready to tackle some more interview prep for that agricultural equipment design engineer role. We've covered a bunch of specific questions so far, but I think now's a good time to talk about those career insights that can really give you an edge.
You got it. It's not just about answering questions, by the book. It's about showing them you've really thought about your career path, where you see yourself going, and how this specific role fits into your long-term goals.
Exactly. And the career guide actually has a section on that. It outlines a typical career progression for an agricultural equipment design engineer. You could start entry level and climb all the way up to senior management.
It's good to understand those different stages, get a sense of where you could be headed.
Definitely. Even if you're just starting out, it gives you a framework for talking about your ambitions. You can say something like, right now, I'm excited to learn and contribute to innovative projects. But down the road, I see myself taking on more leadership roles as I gain experience.
Perfect. That shows ambition, but also, you're realistic about the steps involved. It kind of ties in nicely with another question we haven't touched on yet. That, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Question.
Oh yeah, the dreaded 5-year plan.
Yeah.
But it's not about having it all figured out. It's more about showing them you've thought about your future, right? How this role plays into your overall aspirations.
That's the key. So maybe you talk about specific areas within agricultural equipment design that you're interested in, like you want to specialize in something. Or maybe you see yourself leading a team, managing those big, complex projects.
Right, exactly. And I remember the career guide mentioned something interesting. Leadership skills are super valuable in this field. So even if you're not applying for a management position yet, it's worth mentioning those leadership experiences.
Good point.
Think back to your university days. Did you lead a team project? Or maybe you took on a leadership role in a club or volunteer group.
All valuable stuff to bring up. Okay, let's get back to those sample questions. We left off with, can you describe a time when you faced a significant design challenge and how you overcame it? Remember, this is all about showing off those problem-solving skills and your resilience.
Right. And since safety is a big deal in this field,
Mhm.
I think it's worth highlighting any experience you have with safety protocols, risk assessments, industry standards, that kind of thing.
For sure. If you can drop in some specific regulations or testing procedures, it shows you're already thinking about those critical aspects of the job.
Exactly. Okay, here's one that might not apply to everyone, especially if you're early in your career. But if you do have any leadership experience, be ready to answer.
Hmm.
Can you describe a time when you led a team in the design and development of a new agricultural equipment product?
Now, even if you haven't officially led a design team, think about times when you took charge, worked well with others, maybe had to resolve some conflicts along the way.
Exactly. Maybe you spearheaded a group project at uni or took the lead in a volunteer organization. The important thing is to show those transferable skills. Communication, delegation, problem solving, those are gold.
Right. And it's not just about listing tasks. They want to hear about how you approach things, the challenges, the results.
Okay, another question that often pops up. Can you describe a time when you identified and implemented a design improvement for an existing agricultural equipment product? This one's all about showing them you can think outside the box and that you're always looking for ways to make things better.
It's about going above and beyond, not just doing the bare minimum.
So think about a time when you did just that. Did you spot a flaw in a design? Come up with a more efficient solution?
And be specific, what was the problem? How did you tackle it? What data or analysis did you use? And what was the impact of that improvement you made?
Let's say you were working on a tractor design.
Yeah.
And you notice that, oh, the placement of one of the controls is really awkward for the operator. So you propose a redesign based on ergonomics,
Yeah.
right? And then you test it out with actual users to see how it works.
Exactly. Those are the kind of details that make your answer stand out and show them you're not just an engineer or you're a problem solver. You're thinking about the user experience.
Okay, last but definitely not least, a question that's becoming more and more important these days. How do you incorporate sustainability and environmental considerations into your design process?
Yeah, sustainability is a big deal now. It's not just a buzzword anymore. It's a core value for a lot of companies. So be ready to talk about how you approach eco-friendly design.
I was reading the career guide, and it actually highlights this trend. It talks about the growing demand for fuel-efficient equipment, reducing emissions, using sustainable materials, all that good stuff.
It's all connected. So think of some specific examples. Have you researched alternative fuel sources? Consider the environmental impact of your designs from start to finish. Are you up to speed on things like bio-based plastics and those other eco-friendly materials?
Right, and this is another area where RoleCatcher can be a game changer. Its AI can pick up on those sustainability keywords that are important to specific employers. So, if they're all about reducing water consumption or using renewable energy, you can tailor your answers to show that you're on the same page.
Makes sense?
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here. But before we move on, I want to circle back to something we mentioned earlier. Asking good questions during the interview.
Oh, yeah, that's super important. It shows you're engaged, you're curious, you're not just going through the motions.
And the career guide actually has some tips on what to ask, like asking about the company culture, their commitment to professional development, the specific challenges and opportunities of the role.
All good stuff. But the best questions are the ones that are tailored to that specific company, based on what they do.
So do your homework. Check out their website, read some recent articles, get a feel for what they're working on, their priorities.
Exactly. And if you can connect your question to something that came up during the interview, it shows you were really listening.
All right. I think we've given our listener a lot to think about. We're not done yet, though. In part 3, we'll talk about how to really showcase your passion, make that lasting impression, and use the power of RoleCatcher's AI to help you land that dream job.
Okay, we're back for the final stretch of our agricultural equipment design engineer interview deep dive. We've talked about questions, career insights, tailoring your answers, you name it.
Now, it's all about adding that extra something special, that wow factor that helps you stand out, Make them remember you.
I love that. It really is about more than just ticking the boxes and having the right answers. They want to see who you are, what makes you uniquely you.
Absolutely. It's about showcasing your passion, your personality. The career guide really emphasized those soft skills like communication, teamwork, and problem solving.
And a great way to show off those skills is through storytelling. Think back to experiences in school, extracurriculars, anything where you really had to collaborate, overcome challenges, and get results. Tell them a story. Like, let's say you were part of a team that designed a new piece of equipment. Walk them through the process. What were the hurdles? How did you motivate your team? How did you make sure everyone was on the same page?
Those stories bring your skills to life and make you more memorable.
And don't be afraid to let your enthusiasm show. You're obviously passionate about this field, so let that excitement come through in your answers.
Exactly. If you're genuinely excited about a certain technology or a design challenge, that energy is contagious. They'll feel it.
Okay, here's another way to make a big impact. Your portfolio.
Ah, yes. The visual representation of all your hard work.
If you've got design projects from school or internships, bring them along. Gives the interviewers something tangible to look at, and it's a great conversation starter.
And portfolios aren't just those old school binders anymore. Go digital. Create a version on your tablet or put it on your website.
Just make sure it's easy to navigate, looks good, and shows off your best work.
And just like we talked about with tailoring your answers, Tailor your portfolio to the specific company and role, too. So if they're all about precision agriculture, highlight those projects.
Spot on. Okay, we've talked about how RoleCatcher can help you prepare your answers and practice your delivery, but there's another cool feature I want to mention, the career compass.
Oh, tell me more about that.
It basically helps you explore different career paths within agricultural engineering. It's all about figuring out which roles and skills match your interests and
So
goals.
it's like a roadmap for your career.
I like it.
Yeah. And it connects with all the other features on RoleCatcher. You can use it to find job postings, practice interview questions for those specific roles, even get feedback on your resume and cover letter.
That's amazing. Talk about a one-stop shop for your career journey.
Seriously. And it's all part of the free RoleCatcher account, so why not give it a shot?
Okay, before we wrap things up here, I want to say one more thing. Interviews can be nerve-wracking no matter how much you prepare, but remember, you got this. Right. The fact that they called you for an interview means they see something in you. They see your potential, your skills, your passion.
So take a deep breath, try to relax, and enjoy the conversation.
It's a chance to show them who you are, learn more about them, and see if it's a good fit for both of you.
Exactly. And remember, we're here to support you every step of the way. Got questions? Need some advice? Reach out to us.
We're rooting for you. Go get 'em.
All right, that wraps up our deep dive into the Agricultural Equipment Design Engineer interview. We hope this has given you the tools and confidence to land your dream job.
The future of agriculture is bright. We can't wait to see what you accomplish out there.